What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we're here because Need for Speed Heat. It's been a long week. You get me? Bars. That made no sense, but we're just here to talk about Need for Speed Heat, talk about my first impressions. This isn't a review, this isn't my final thoughts. I'm sure things are going to change, but I played about 7 or 8 hours of the game now, and I'm coming out of it very, very positive. It's weird. I didn't really come out this positive with Payback. With 2015, it was different because, you know, the style of game it was and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, I played a lot of 2015. But I can say, hand on heart, after playing Need for Speed Heat, it's the best Need for Speed game I have played since Hot Pursuit 2010. And that is going to be a really, really controversial thing to say. Now, I'm not saying that just for views. Like, I know a lot of people are going to be like, you're just doing it for views. I genuinely think this. Now, to put this in perspective, Hot Pursuit 2010 was my last favourite Need for Speed game. I guess we've had the run since then, and on Most Wanted 2012, that's a bit of a Marmite game. You either love it or you hate it. But for me, you know, since 2010, the highlight of all those games to me was Hot Pursuit 2010. The run was alright, but it didn't really do much for me like that. It's a good game, but it's not that much better than Need for Speed 2015 to me. We had Shift 2, and we had Most Wanted, and we had Rivals, and we had 2015, and we had Payback. Need for Speed Heat is a return to form, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't things wrong with this game. There is a lot of things wrong with this game. I'm yet to make a video talking about the corner cutting, especially in the nighttime tracks. It's awful. Like, it almost underpins the whole reason why autolog's even in there, because you can cut the track by quite literally, sometimes you can go from like 15% to 45% with one really big shortcut. Now, whether it's a shortcut or whether it's, you know, cheating, that is something for the community to decide, and I'll make a video on that when I actually have access to the full game. But in the grand scheme of things, these are very, very small problems in a game which, for the most part, has done a lot of things right. Now, I'm not saying this is better than Hot Pursuit 2010. Hot Pursuit 2010 was an 8 or a 9 for me. I hate giving numbers out because it's just shit. Numbers are shit. But I will say it is definitely up there in terms of like the number scale. Not gonna quite give it a number yet because these are first impressions. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling about where it is on the leaderboard, and I'm actually going to talk about what is good and what is bad, and we're going to go one good, one bad until I run out of things to say. Number 1 good, the handling. Oh my god, it feels like I only talk about the handling with Need for Speed Heat. You know, a lot of people are going to have a lot of things to say about it. I still have not spent enough time with the drift handling. I'm not used to it in the slightest. I need to get used to it because it's like half the game for me. But the handling is a huge improvement over anything we've seen in a Ghost games. When you want to grip, you can fully grip, and it's exactly how it should be. I wouldn't want to copy and paste of the black box model. I think what they've done this time around is they've done grip as a Ghost, like in the Ghost way, if that makes sense. They've not taken too much from here or there. It's how I want it to be. I'm very happy with it. It has its little niggles. I've talked about this, I made a whole video about the grip and drift handling, but as far as I'm concerned, it's good enough. Like I said, with the drift handling, I haven't really spent enough time with it to say, but you know, the normal handling, it's predictable. You know, you can customize it to be how you want it to be, you know, and that's another thing with the performance upgrades, which is another positive, which we'll talk about in a minute. You can just make it however you like, and that's just fantastic, and there's nothing wrong with that. The other bad point, I guess, or the main bad point for me, really, other than the corner cutting, which I guess you could say was number 1, so this is number 2 now. No speed lists at launch. Or no PvP multiplayer at launch. Huge thing. Obviously, you can go to all drive, and that's pretty cool. And auto log. But again, as we've already established, people are going to be cheating in auto log or using these really big shortcuts, and it's just going to be a bit of a mess, I feel like. Anyway. But yeah, no speedless at launch, big problem for me. I don't really understand why they couldn't have it in there at launch and then update it. Like, surely you can do that nowadays. I don't know, maybe that's just me being, you know, very, very unknowledgeable about video games and development, but I just don't see any reason why it couldn't have been put there, you know, in Payback's form, in the new game. You know, like, the whole reason why people got annoyed in the last game that, you know, free roam wasn't there was because it wasn't there. It doesn't matter for what reason it wasn't there, it was not there. And I feel like they've done the same thing now, but with speedless. Now, that's a less of an issue because, you know, free roam's more important than speedless, but there's no reason why it just shouldn't be in there and then they just update it over time. Very weird, don't understand it. I guess we'll move on to the performance upgrades next. Absolutely everything about the performance upgrades are sick. The fact that there's no speed cards, if there was speed cards back in this game, I would have screamed. The fact that, you know, they're fully customizable, so if you want to do a drift thing, you can do a drift thing. If you want to do a road thing, you can do a road thing. If you want to do an off-road thing, there's so many ways it can go, but whatever you want to do, whatever tickles your fancy, you can do it, and that is awesome. And then furthermore, like another point on that, the ultimate parts and all the like extreme parts are only available through high heat races. High heat races are actually hard to get to, like it's not easy. So from my perspective, that's another cool thing. That goes on to another positive, which is the police. The police are awesome. Like the chases are intense. They're like everything you want from a Need for Speed chase, and you're rewarded for it, which is pretty cool. You can see where this is going. The positives really heavily outweigh the negatives. Even progression and end game, like the M3 GTR is only unlockable after you complete the story. Now, I would have hoped that it was a little bit harder to get than that, but you know, it'll do. It's a step in the right direction, and I think that is the main thing with Heat, and that's what I want you guys to take away from this video, is it's a step in the right direction. Things like the progression and, you know, little bits and bobs, you know, they are really good. They could be better. Like I said, with the M3 GTR, I would have preferred if it was a little bit harder to get. But that's me being a hardcore fan and nitpicking, and I will always nitpick with the series because I'm a hardcore fan. But I'm also not going to sit here and say that they haven't smashed it out the park, that the atmosphere isn't great, they don't even get me started about the soundtrack. So the soundtrack was glitched, and that's why you've not been hearing it in my videos. I tried to get it in there, but there was a little glitch in the build we were playing because it was like a 4 weeks old, I believe. But the soundtrack, oh my god. Chase and Status was in there, I'm pretty sure I heard Denzel Curry at one point. Basically, it's just my Spotify playlist pretty much, and it fits the whole thing so well. Had like Latino music in there, and I was going like cha-cha-cha. So good, like banging, absolutely banging. I'm so excited to actually hear the full soundtrack. With Payback, it was one of those ones where I felt missing coming out of the capture session. But this, I mean, again, I haven't played all of the game. I haven't, you know, seen absolutely everything there is to, you know, play with. I haven't tried the maximum car, you know, all of that stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, Need for Speed Heat is the best Need for Speed in the past decade, and I have absolutely no problem saying that. You have a reason to be excited. Be excited. Ghost have, like, they finally cracked it, I feel like. From what I've played so far, it feels like that. It feels like I finally cracked it. Please, EA, if you're watching this, give me an early code. I really need an early code. Yeah, that's it. It's a shame, honestly. Do you want to focus on my face instead of the crack, please? My face is not focusing. Yeah, it's an absolute shame that my footage, like, corrupted, because I had so much stuff to do. I was going to show you guys the high heat races, heat level 5 gameplay, loads of builds. I had so much stuff planned and I can't do it, and it's really annoying. But there's more stuff to do on launch. I guess it all leads up to launch, so hopefully they can get us an early review code so I can actually get around to doing the stuff that I planned. That's it from today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, subscribe. More Need for Speed Heat. It's so nice to be able to go into a Need for Speed game and actually want to play it. Like, so different to this time 2 years ago with Payback. I'm going into this game with such high hopes, and I can't wait to see what they do with live service. like, there's so many little things. Safe, it's been your boy. See you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, please. Thank you. Stay safe. Peace.